We all have fears. Some of us even think about them when we lay in bed at night. This is my story of how my biggest fear came true and how I've managed to survive since then. My biggest fear had always been to lose someone I could not live without. I would think about that often and pray that it never happened. My brother Abiel was one of the few people I often feared losing. Abiel and I went through a lot together as children, but we always had each other to help get through it. As adults, our bond grew closer because only we understood each other and the pain we carried. I always knew that as long as I had my brother, I could get through anything. My brother was sent to Kabul, Afghanistan on August 16th of 2021 to help evacuate Americans and Afghan refugees. He was killed by a suicide bomber from the Taliban on August 26th. That day, I went to sleep like any other day and woke up at 1 a.m. on August 27th to the worst phone call of my life. I drove to my mother's house in the middle of the night, and when I opened the door, I saw my mother, my 2 little brothers, and 3 Marines in their dress blues. They turned to look at me and immediately all stood up from the couch. My mother and brothers walked toward me and hugged me. Right then and there I knew. Nobody had to say anything. I knew my brother was dead. One of the 2 people I feared losing was gone. I hugged them and started praying. I remember saying, "God, please be with us as we will need you more than ever." I do believe that prayer I said that night is what is still holding me today. We hugged for a long time in silence, and I could feel the tears pouring out of my eyes and the physical pain I felt in my body, especially my stomach. After my brother was killed, I just wanted to give up on life and even begged them to bury me with him. I asked myself, how can someone take care of someone else when they themselves have lost their will to live? But I had a 1-year-old who needed me. I had to figure out a way. I had to figure out how to live without the one person I didn't think I could live without. Because not living was not an option. Times were rough, and I resorted to all sorts of things to help with the pain and depression. Some were healthy options like antidepressants and counseling. Others were not so healthy. People often told me time heals, but honestly, as time went on, I felt like it was harder for me. What I do feel has improved is my strength and my determination to make it. Not only survive, but to make my brother proud. He was always the one to encourage me and push me to do better, like he did with his Marine brothers. When they come to visit his grave, they tell us stories. They say that thanks to him, they got through some of the roughest days on base. He was like that for everyone. Abiel was so funny and always seemed happy. He would light up a room when he walked in. He was quite literally the life of the party. I knew him well, and I knew he wasn't really happy. He struggled with a lot. But despite that, he was always laughing and making others laugh. I remember that, and I pushed myself to look for things that bring me joy. I have learned to ride a motorcycle and use a gun, which I'm sure he would be very proud of. I have found a love for plants, which I'm sure he would say is lame and laugh at me. But most importantly, I have gone back to school, which I know he would be most proud of. He would say Dahlia needs a mom that she can be proud of and a mother that can hold her own. Most days I am overwhelmed with everything I have to do between work, being a single mother, taking care of a home all by myself, and most recently, being a student, all while grieving. But in these 2 years, I have learned that if you can find joy in the little things, talk about the ones you have lost often, do things to honor their memory, it is possible to live with the hole in your chest. Everyone's grieving process is different and very difficult. There is no right or wrong way to do it. Even though people think there is a timeline, there is not. I will probably grieve for the rest of my life, and I am okay with that. I often think that is another way to honor him, by never forgetting him and never 100% being okay with his death. He meant the world to me, and most days I feel like my world can't exist anymore because he is gone. But I know that I can. And when things get rough, I just need to pull from the survival skills I have learned work for me and keep going. If you ask anybody that knew him what he would say if you started crying over him, they would tell you something along the lines of, "Quit crying, you baby, go wipe off those tears, have a drink for me, and go make me proud." And that is exactly what I am doing and will continue to do.